Hey, y'all, hope y'all are doing good. This is the 2025 Tennessee Vols preview and prediction video. I'm getting this video out very early. Typically, I do this at the end of July, but this year I'm going to go ahead and get it out at June because there's nothing that's going to really change my mind, and I'd just rather go ahead and do this video, just to be honest with you. So, the Tennessee Vols in 2024, very successful season, 10-2, made it to the playoffs and lost to Ohio State, the eventual national champions. Tennessee loses a lot of good players from last year, but we are returning a lot of quality players as well. But we are losing our quarterback, Nico Iamaleava. We're losing Dylan Sampson, who he had over 1,500 all-purpose yards last year. James Pierce. And, we lose some guys in the secondary, but we return on defense most of the people outside of defensive line. Our secondary's back, Jermod McCoy, Ricky Gibson, our linebacking core's back. I think you're going to have a huge year out of Boo Carter, who is going to be a receiver and in the secondary. That is one person I'm very excited to see this season. And offensively, even losing Nico, it's not good to lose a starting quarterback. I don't care. Nico was not great, and I don't think he was going to be great this year. I'm not sitting here and telling you we're in a better situation, but losing Nico was not devastating because Nico is a bust. He is not Arch Manning. He is a kid who has character issues, and his family has character issues, and I really believe him being on the roster this year may have even held us back more because he's a me. It's all about me, and we need a quarterback that's about the team. And so our quarterback situation going into 2025 is not ideal, and I don't know if they will be better than Nico. Could be, might be worse, might be about the same. But I still think Tennessee will be okay on offense, and I'm going to talk more about that here in a minute. But anyway, let's go through this schedule. This Tennessee schedule, 1 through 12, and I'm going to let you know what I think is going to happen. And guys, I'm a Tennessee fan from the day I was born. And I do all the SEC predictions, so I try to do this very fair and I don't just pick Tennessee because I'm a Tennessee fan. I pick this how I see this. So any opposing fans that come on here and watch my video and say, well, that's a homer pick. I mean, dude, I'm not being a homer. I'm literally telling you what I think. It's not what I hope. It's what I think is going to happen. So let's get that out of the way and let's talk about this schedule and what I think is going to happen. So, Tennessee opens up against Syracuse. And it is August 30th. It's a 12 o'clock kickoff. That's a really sucky time to kick off. But anyway, that's the time that we've been given. Now, Syracuse was I think like a 9-win team last year, had a great quarterback in Kyle McCord. They actually knocked off Miami last year and kept them out of the playoffs, honestly. They do lose their star receiver, who was basically told to go somewhere else because he was looking for more money. So, from what I'm seeing, I think, Syracuse is a 5 or 6 win team this year. At least that's what Vegas thinks. If you do their futures and you look at their win-loss total prop, it's like at 5.5 wins. Syracuse is getting better. They're in the last couple of years, they're trending in a better, direction. But Tennessee is an 8 or 9 win team, okay? At least on paper. Tennessee's the better team. Tennessee can absolutely lose this game. I'm not sugarcoating that, but Tennessee will win Week 1 against Syracuse. Tennessee should win this game by at least a couple TDs, in my opinion. If they don't, then that will be a telltale sign that down the road we're going to have a lot of issues this season. So I think Tennessee opens up 1-0 with the win over Syracuse. Now, week number 2 in East Tennessee State. That's just 30 minutes up the road here for me. Proud little school. They're getting a little better. FCS school, but Tennessee, that's kind of one of those Kent State games. If you remember what I'm talking about, Kent State, Tennessee scored 70 points on them. Last year, Tennessee can do the same thing with East Tennessee State. They do not have a chance. They do not have a prayer. But right after that, that's when things get real. That's when you're facing a top 5 team in the Georgia Bulldogs on September 13th. That is a 3:30 game. And Georgia has a lot of questions just like we do as well. Gunnar Stockton, he only has really one start under his belt. He's unproven a lot. I know when I did see him play, he did play well in some aspects, but he's still very largely unproven, okay? Georgia's bringing back an offensive line. Really, they're not bringing anybody back from that offensive line. They're basically replacing everybody coming back. Wide receivers are gone, which I know a lot of Georgia fans are going to be like, thank God they're gone, because I think three of the receivers were like top 10 in the country in drop passes. The receiving core for Georgia was atrocious, and that's what really held them back last year. Defensively, again, Georgia's going to be really, really good. And that's why I think Georgia's going to win this game. Now, I would love to come on here and say Tennessee's going to beat Georgia. I would love that. But listen, guys, I've watched Kirby Smart go against Josh Heupel, and Kirby Smart has owned him every single time. Now, it's going to be huge that this game is going to be in Knoxville. It's early in the year, and I think Tennessee has a good chance at winning this game. But here's the thing. Is Tennessee going to score enough points? Because Josh Heupel cannot move the ball against a Kirby Smart defense. They just can't. And for me to get on here and pick a Tennessee win over Georgia would just be foolish, because I've not seen it. I've not seen it under Josh Heupel, and especially with a quarterback, really, that's going to be playing in this game that's largely unproven. So anyway, I've got Tennessee 2-1. I got Georgia winning that game. It could swing the other way. I mean, if Tennessee is the real deal, they play very disciplined football, they could beat Georgia, but I'm not betting on it. I think Georgia's going to win that game, so Tennessee will be 2-1. UAB is the next team on the schedule. This is a decent UAB team. They are a pretty quality team, but Tennessee shouldn't have no trouble, winning this. This will be like a 24 to 28 point spread type game for Tennessee. Tennessee should take care of UAB pretty easily. Then Tennessee plays Mississippi State the next week. This is at Mississippi State. Now, Mississippi State might be the worst team in the SEC, just to be perfectly honest with you. But one thing that I noticed when I watched Mississippi State last year, they played hard, guys. They didn't roll over for nobody. They played Georgia competitively. They played us largely competitively last year. And I think they're going to be better this year, and it's going to be at Mississippi State. And guess what? Tennessee struggles on the road. It doesn't matter if we're playing the Tennessee School for the Blind or the New England Patriots or the Philadelphia Eagles. Tennessee struggles on the road. But Tennessee should win that game. There's no doubt about that. Tennessee should comfortably beat Mississippi State. So then I've got, at this point, we only have one loss still. We get a bye week to get ready for Arkansas. Arkansas, again, is I think people are projecting them to win around 5 or 6 games. They get Taylor Green back, who is a pretty darn good quarterback. He has turnover issues. He cost them a couple games last year just with very questionable decision making, but he's very talented. He has a good arm, he can run, and he can cause a lot of havoc on your defense. I would love to have him, just to be honest with you. So they have a quarterback advantage in that game. The other thing about Arkansas is we've not beat them since 2007. It was the last year that Tennessee went to the SEC championship game, and that was the last time we beat Arkansas. Arkansas has won like 5 or 6 games straight in this series. So Arkansas has kind of owned us. This is a kind of a bugaboo game that we need to get over. But with the bye week, it being at home, Tennessee should beat Arkansas. So I have us winning that game. But we have to go, right after that game, we have to go to Tuscaloosa and play Alabama. And they're led down there with Ty Simpson and Ryan Williams. I think they're going to have a really good year as far as a duo quarterback and wide receiver. Defensively, I still think they're going to be solid. I think Jalen Milroe kind of held them back last year in the system that he was given by Kalen DeBoer. I think he's got a QB now that's going to fit their system more. It's going to be really tough to beat Alabama down there in Tuscaloosa. I was dead on Alabama last year. I had a lot of, when I did the Alabama preview and prediction last year, I had them winning 9 games, and I had Bama fans cussing me and saying I was a homer, but I was right. Alabama won 9 games. But I think that's different this year. I think Alabama's going to win 10 or 11 games this year, probably 10 games. I think they're about a 10-win team. They're going to be better this year, and Kalen DeBoer has showed over time he gets better as a coach, and he's a guy that's went to the national championship game just a couple of years ago, so he's a good coach. Tennessee, I think it's just asking a little too much to go down there, especially at this point with not a proven quarterback and beating them in Tuscaloosa. I think Alabama beats us, and that's going to give us our second loss on the season. And here's a game, you're going to call me crazy for saying this, but I don't think Kentucky is going to be very good this year. But having to turn right back around and play Kentucky in Lexington. And Kentucky, even though we always beat Kentucky, they do play us hard, and they are a very physical football team. So we're going to go from a physical game against Alabama to playing a physical game against Kentucky. It's going to be hard to get up for that game, especially after that Alabama game, which we'll probably lose. That's very much a trap game because we got Oklahoma just the next week after that. Tennessee needs to be very careful in that Kentucky game. Now, I don't think Kentucky's good. But guess what? Good teams or even decent teams lose to bad teams when they're not prepared. Kentucky beat Ole Miss last year. As bad as Kentucky was last year, they still beat an Ole Miss team that almost made the playoffs. So Kentucky is a dangerous team, but I still think Tennessee wins this game. I think Tennessee's just the better team, and I think they go into Lexington and get that win and move to the next week. Now, the next game is Oklahoma. They come to Tennessee. Now, I think Oklahoma, like Alabama, I was pretty dead on that what I predicted them. I picked Alabama to win 9 games last year. Oklahoma, the same thing. I had Oklahoma winning like 6 games, and they won 6 games. Oklahoma offensively was just bad. They were horrible. Defensively, very solid. It was a defense that was very competitive, and they would have had even a decent offense. They would have won a lot more games. Mateer is coming over from Washington State. The head coach from Washington State, or the offensive coordinator from Washington State, is coming. He's come to Oklahoma to be his offensive coordinator. And I do think offensively they're going to be better this year. Even if they're just a little bit better offensively, it's going to make a big difference. This is one I've waffled back and forth on. I think Oklahoma gets us in that game. I think Oklahoma's just going to be better offensively than we are. I hope I'm wrong. But until I see this Tennessee offense and see how they're going to play right now, I have to kind of give the edge to Oklahoma. Again, they're going to have a good defense coming back. And offensively, I think they're going to be better. So I think Oklahoma's going to win that game, beat us, and we're going to have 3 losses. The next game, we get a bye week, a very much needed bye week, come back, play New Mexico State. Now, this is the team that Diego Pavia, who's the quarterback for Vanderbilt, played on. They've had some decent seasons over here the last 2 or 3 years. They're not just a complete walkover for the most part. But again, this is a game Tennessee should be favored by 4 or 5 TDs. Tennessee should win this comfortably, especially after a bye week. And then that will put us into the Florida game. We've got to go to Florida. Now, this is a place Tennessee has not won since 2003. It's been a very much of a bugaboo place for us where we just cannot win. There's been a lot of Tennessee teams that have been pretty darn good that have lost to just bad Florida teams for whatever reason. And I think Florida is just as good as we are this year. Maybe it's close, but going into Gainesville, and I definitely think that Florida has the edge in the quarterback room on us. DJ Lagway is a very elite, very good quarterback, and our quarterback situation is very sketchy. We don't know what we're getting. So I have to give Florida the edge in that game. I just can't pick Tennessee going to Gainesville with all these question marks. As long as DJ Lagway's healthy, as long as Florida's had a decent year and they've not given up, or Billy Napier's going to get fired, I think Florida is going to be able to get that win, especially when you look at the track record of Josh Heupel on the road in SEC venues, especially like SEC venues at night. We've struggled. So I think Florida's going to give us our fourth loss. But I do think we finish the year out with a win over Vanderbilt. At home there. I think Vanderbilt's going to take a step back. Diego Pavia is back for his 35th season in college football. He won the appeal, so he gets another season of football. And I like Diego Pavia. I think he's a great quarterback. He led them to 7 wins last year, won a bowl game against Georgia Tech, and he's all heart. But Vandy was sneaking up on people last year. They're not going to sneak up on nobody this year. They got to come to Knoxville. Tennessee's not going to lose to Vanderbilt, in my opinion. I think Tennessee gets that win. Has 8 wins. So I think Tennessee goes 8-4. Now listen, guys. Tennessee could easily be a 9-win team, but Tennessee at the same time could easily be a 7-win team. I don't think there's any world we live in where Tennessee could get to 10 wins, but there's definitely a world where I think Tennessee wins, 6 or 7 games if things go south. If quarterback play is really, really bad, it could get ugly. So Josh Heupel's system is dependent on a competent quarterback that can run that offense and make the throws that's needed. Okay, he needs a quarterback that has a strong arm and can make those long throws down the field to the sideline, etc. So as long as we have decent quarterback play, I think Tennessee's going to win 8 games. This is the hardest preview and prediction I've ever done for Tennessee because there's so many question marks, right? But I think Tennessee goes 8-4, gets a decent bowl game. I think we reload for the next year. We're going to have a much better team, and the quarterback room is going to be much more competent and more certain. But anyway, guys, thank you for tuning in. But that is my 2025 Tennessee preview and prediction for this 2025 season, and I'll talk to you all later.